Hello, everyone. This is The Cure, welcoming you to the Crimson Tower, a place where we keep a feminine foot on the neck of the gynocracy, feminism, and black male misandry. So go ahead, pull up a chair, stay a while, and listen. Hey, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. We're going to go ahead and get right on into the topic, but first, a word from our sponsor.
This is A Game. Fast acting, long lasting, with no side effects.
Hey guys, this is the Crimson Cure, and this next clip was also taken from that same live stream that was done November the 7th of 2020 between myself and Nikole Ali. And this one covers the second question: how do you combat gynocratic and feminist socialization within yourself and immediate environment? And I thought this one was important because we are American women. We are American black women. And as such, we've grown up in a society and where the gynocracy or gynocratic thinking is socialized. Feminism is socialized with us in school and other settings. So I thought this was an important one to demonstrate how women who've grown up in this type of socialization actually combat it. So once again, I'll let you guys dive right into this question. So that leads us to the next part of the conversation that I want to tackle. How do you combat gynocratic and feminist socialization within yourself and your immediate environment? Because we grew up here, and so it's not like we weren't introduced to these thoughts and this way of being and acting and thinking. So how did you personally deal with that inside of you and like your immediate environment?
Yeah, so basically the same way. That's why I was bringing that story up, because I knew that it would lead into this next question. So the way I dealt with it, and still deal with it, from time to time within myself, is the way I deal with it with a lot of the practitioners of gynometry. So what I do is active listening is absolutely a must. And I listen when other people are talking, particularly men, because usually when a man speaks, he's giving direction and giving a specific step-by-step strategy of what needs to be done. Okay, this is how we're going to do it. And then listening to the tone of voice. That's one thing women got to get off of. Man uses a certain tone of voice. He's not yelling at you. Because I used to say that. Why are you yelling at me?
Exactly.
Why are you yelling?
Yelling at me.
Are you yelling at me? Oh my.
Like, why are you being so mean?
Are you being aggressive? Oh, why? Why are you doing that? Are you angry? No, I'm not angry. I'm just saying what I got to say. He's being assertive. He's being masculine. He is a man. He's not a little boy. So that I had to get out of that. And I listen, and I also understand that men are not automatons. They do have emotions. They do get upset. They are sad. Newsflash to women who may not know that. But yes, and I know that every man is not the same. And so for me, I know that when he's upset about something, he's gonna be in his man cave. He gonna, I already know when I come in there. Yeah, the signs. Like, you come in there, and if he got his feet kicked up, then he's relaxed. It's okay.
Right, we good. Right.
If he's going forward playing the game, and I say, oh, would you like a beer or something? He just he don't even really turn his head. He just look. That I'm thinking it's not me. Don't automatically think it's you. That's another thing. Don't automatically think it's something you did, ladies. Maybe he's going through something. He's trying to deal with that. At that point, you can support. And if he just looks sometimes if he looks and he look mad, he's not mad at you. He's just in probably deep thought, trying to figure out this situation or whatever. The best option is, you already know what he like. If you're in that position, in that relationship, you know what he likes to drink. Don't ask nothing else. Don't ask nothing else.
Right.
Just go get his drink or whatever you know that he likes, bring it to him, sit it down. It's the actions that make a difference, for me at least, in trying to get out of this, gynocracy, the socialization thing. And I noticed with my mom, like she spoke more than in the action than acting. The behavior was less likely to happen versus her speaking. She's more verbal person, right? And so that for men, sometimes it's like, they don't want to hear us, and I get that, and also the last thing I'll say is like being consistent with the things that you're doing, be consistent. Like one day you've argued about something or having a debate about something and you just got to be right. You just got to be right. Well, that ain't it. I got to have the last word and all this other mess. And next day you're like, oh my goodness, I'm just sugar spice everything nice. What? If you're going to be that, then be that all the time. Like, that's what you're going to stick to it. Like you always say, pick your struggle. What you going to do? Like, do that. You try to be consistent, and that's on you as a female. That's your responsibility to take care of those inner demons trying to work their way out. They work their way out of different places and, different times or whatever. That's on you to make sure that you have yourself in check, because you going to him with your problems like, this, that, the other. Just saying things inconsistently from day to day, showing him like you had worked out what's going on. Like, it's not his job to be figuring out what the heck going on in your head like that. Unless he's a therapist, you know what I'm saying? But otherwise, like, try to keep the peace in the home as much as you can. Everything ain't gonna be, peaches and cream all the time. But, try to at least like stick to those things, active listening, like trying to make sure that you keep the peace as much as you can, communicating properly, and being as consistent as you possibly can. Like, those are, I think in my it says within my in my immediate environment, those are the things that I try my best to like keep at the forefront. Those are like goals for me.
Okay. Yeah, that you kind of echoing some things in my head, because one of the things I think that I personally internalized from gynocentric socialization was not feeling anything, which puts you in a masculine space as a woman. Being in charge of things and having that authority to a certain degree. And when I got married the first time, I had to work through that. Having to be right, needing to be right, which led to arguments, which in turn led to why is he being so mean? Why is he, because growing up underneath the gynocentrics, my mother is very gynocentric, very. And then not really being indoctrinated into it, but still parts of that programming touch you. You can't be unscathed. And so the part that touched me was being super hypersensitive, but your sensitivity was way above, how smart your mouth is. And I think that those need to be equal. If you got a super smart mouth, your sensitivity need to come down, a little bit to match how smart your mouth is. Mm-hmm. And so I got a real quick tongue. I'm quick with it. So I'll start cutting before I even really know what's going on. It's like, okay, let me just cut this real quick. And my late husband was like, wait, wrong answer. First of all, our communication not gonna be like this because you don't run me. I'm gonna need you to understand that right now. You don't run me. Like, you don't run me. I run me. And if anybody's running anybody, I run you. So I need you to understand the position. And when he said it, like, I was wounded. I was completely wounded. I was like, oh my God, what is he saying? You know, he just being so mean. And it wasn't. He was asserting his masculinity. Like, okay, if I'm the leader of what's going on, then you can't run me. Period. Like, under any circumstance. So all of this assertiveness you got, and you know what I'm saying, figuring something's supposed to happen just because you said, maybe that worked where you came from, but it's not gonna work in this household, because this is my household. Now, I love you. You're in the household with me because I love you and I want you here. But that don't mean you get to run me, period. So I had to kind of take, through time, I had to kind of take my feelings out of that, because, and learn the difference between his anger and his masculine assertiveness. And there's a difference when he's mad at you because you did something, and when he's not mad at all, but he is asserting his authority in this situation. And to not have your feelings so wrapped up and worn on your sleeve that anything that he says, you know, if he takes the tone. And I think that that's another part of gynocentric programming, that toxic masculinity stuff. Anytime they show their aggression or show their authority or show, you know what I'm saying, that's automatically to be taken as a negative. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's directed at you, or it's directed at something that has something to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Like if your husband comes in and he doesn't like what's been going on in the house for the past few days, and he starts calling you on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? It could be a cleanliness situation. It could be a energy situation. He don't like your attitude for the past few days. He tried to be quiet and let you work it out. You couldn't work it out. Now he got to call you on it. Now you got to have a conversation about what's going on with you. You mad or something? Like, well, like what's happening with you? And that's automatically to be taken as some sort of abusive thing that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Or he's too controlling. You know, he's trying to control it. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to control what's going on in the house, but he needs the ability to influence what's going on in the home. Like, he needs the ability, and you as a woman have a job to do in that home to keep things moving positively and moving upward and moving forward within that home. And like a good leader, if he finds someone on his team who's starting to lag behind in their responsibilities or in the tasks that have been delegated to them, a good leader is always going to stop and say, hey, what's going on with that? What's happening with you? This doesn't seem to be how we usually interact, or this isn't how this usually goes. I see a difference. So what's going on? And if there's really a conversation that needs to be had, you know, we need to have our big girl panties on, you know, so to speak, and be able to articulate what's really going on with us and not be afraid to open up into that vulnerability. And I think that's one of the things that I have to fight personally in terms of gynocentric socialization and things of that nature, that closed off, don't let a man in type of situation, and not wanting to be open and vulnerable and show him your belly and say, hey, these are the things that hurt. You know, I got to tell you, you know what I'm saying? And it might not have anything to do with him, but it's just, this is what it is. And trust that he has your best interest in mind and heart, that he's not going to use those things against you.
Absolutely. That comes with, once again, like the loyalty thing and the trust. Absolutely. having trust in his decisions. Because a lot of times, women, it's such a, oh, we have thunder out here. Um, that's such a contradiction. You want a man there, but then when he's there to ask you what's going on, and don't go into a long litany of everything. Just give him one or two things. Like, give him a little time. A little bit of time is okay.
I'm guilty as charged. I'm so guilty.
Me too.
So guilty.
That's how I know because you know.
You sound a little muffled, sweetie.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, a little bit better. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh Lord, I just came out here to kill this and then this. When the Lord, the God was like, no, go in the house. Like, okay, so I'll come back in. Go in the house. Yes, sir.
Right.
Oh my God! Now it's raining. Oh, I hear Jesus. I hear you. Just came in like just on time, like, and now it's like leaves and branches flying. Y'all, this is crazy. But anyway, yeah, we don't normally get rain, so this is like amazing right here. But what I was saying was like, just give him a little bit, at a time, and don't overload him at any given time. If you know you with the man that you can trust, that's there for you, and you're going through this process. A lot of women, I don't think they trust the process of sharing. And I mean, I know it sounds corny, but sharing and caring. Like he wants you to share with him, and pour out a little, just a little, a couple of tablespoons, not the whole vessel. Don't pour everything.
I'm so guilty, Nikole. I didn't feel like, I didn't know you was gonna attack me today. I'm so guilty.
No.
I'm so guilty of pouring the whole gallon out. Like, here, look what I can do. And then pour the whole gallon out.
No, my grandma said I have to bring her up again. It's like when you go to the well, because they used to have wells, and put the bucket in there, you put it down, you bring it out. She said you never drink out the bucket. You dip out a little with the cup. They used to have metal cups. You dip out a little with the cup and drink a sip. Take a sip and pass it down the line. When you're working and nobody ever drinks out the bucket. You can't manage that much water. You can't manage that much information, that much energy at one time. And same goes for when you are sharing things with the man that you're with. Whether you're your boyfriend, fiance, your husband. You have to be careful with that. Because there's certain things that you share, which are things that you should work on before you bring it to him. Because usually a man will look at it like, okay, how do I fix this?
Exactly.
You ask to build a whole house when actuality, all you need is for him to fix the screen on the window. I'm
very, very, very guilty of that. Thank you, New, for the Cash App. And thank you, Fit Feminine Over 40. Thank you, sweetheart. She says, as women, we respond with our emotions first. We must learn to assert logic and put our emotions in check during most situations, especially when interacting with our husbands, which is very true. I'm actually coming from the other end of that, having to learn the balance, because I'm able to emotionally check out and assert only my logic. But I found that doesn't always work either, because then your husband's wondering, where are your emotions? He's expecting a woman, and women come with that to varying degrees, depending on, who you are. But women come with that. And I learned with my first, with my late husband, that emotional detachment, he liked it and he didn't like it. He liked it because I was able to assert my logic in a situation, even if that situation was highly emotional for me. But then he didn't like it because when it came to those times where I should have been vulnerable and probably should have been crying or probably should have been upset. I wasn't. And he would be like, you weird. You know what I'm saying? Like you a whole weirdo right now because and why you not? And then when I would get upset enough to cry, he would be like, now you really weirding me out. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't really do this. So I'm actually at the point learning to come the other way and actually to strike the balance between, because I'll either it's nothing or I'll pour the whole bucket. I'm either not having no emotional reaction at all, well, not one that I'm showing. I'm having one inside, but I'm cool as a cucumber. If I knew how to play poker, I'd be a pro at it. But I got an awesome poker.
That balance. That balance is so important. I'm like that too, you know, like you were saying earlier, like I call you on something and I've been, you know, called to the carpet, so to speak, about, you know, an issue, and I was like, okay. I was listening to him and I was like, all right, you know, I see what you're saying. And my response after that, and I've had to learn, you know, to have more balance, like Fit Feminine over 40 saying there has to be balance, exactly. But he was like, you know, what are we gonna do? He always says we, us. You know, rarely does he say me, I, you, your. You know, he usually says ours, me, we, and us, that type of thing. You know, and he was like, what are we gonna do about this? I was like, well, if that's the problem for you, and I can already see in your face that that's, you know, hurting you, then I just won't do it at all. He was like, I ain't say you just can't do it at all, but you know,
that's me to a T, Nikole. You are me to a T.
Moderation. He was like, a little moderation do it. I was like, well, if it hurts you, I don't want to do something that hurts. I didn't say it hurt me. I didn't say it hurt me. I was like, well, if you're upset, I don't want to, you know. He was like, oh gosh, like he said, why you do that? It's all or nothing with you, all or nothing. I was like, I'm trying to, you know, figure out, you know, what's the best course of action. And he said, you know, I said and see, that's the thing I had to learn. That was a big misnomer on my part, and just assuming like either it's all or nothing. And in reality, I should have said, like, you know, maybe I should have worded it, you know, I hear what you're saying. I need to let me think on that, and, you know, and come back to you, you know, because, you know, there's a way we can balance this out. There's a way we can mediate this and balance this out. But I need your help. I need your help. That's the thing that we really have to focus on. You know, I need your help with this. And that's, I think, sometimes what in that type of situation, or in any other situation where men are like, you know, expecting us to say, like, I need your help. I need you perhaps to help me with this if necessary. You know, I'm trying to work it out on my end, and you know, can you meet me halfway? You know, with this, and that is very helpful. Like I know that myself personally, that is extremely helpful, where you literally you're being humble and you're being vulnerable, but not weak. There's a difference between being vulnerable.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that so much. There's definitely a difference between vulnerability and weakness. But go ahead, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yes, I mean that's it. Like, you know, right there. You know, those interactions are, you know, and as women, we have to take those interactions. Like, in my mind, if a man comes to you and says something to you about whatever it is, I don't care what it is, you know, if he opens his mouth to say something, it's been on his mind a while.
Yeah.
You know, he's been waiting for you, like you said before. He's been waiting on you to make the correction, to feel the energy and make the correction. I'm guilty of not always feeling the energy properly, you know, and I'm learning how to do that more. But in order to do that, I've had to learn I have to be more vulnerable. I have to actually feel more. You know,
you are speaking my language. You are speaking my language. I'm having them epiphanies right now. I am, because I think, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think in this situation I probably can. We're intellectual. We're intellectually driven. I connect to things and to people through my intellect, not necessarily my emotions. And I like that. I like doing it because I'm good at it. But at this point, I'm like you. I'm guilty sometimes of not being able to read the room emotionally and read the energy of what's happening emotionally, and then making the proper adjustments, because that was something that I struggled with a lot in my marriage, the all or nothing thing, and then feeling like I was a burden thing, that you mentioned, with like, okay, if he brought up something, I'm not really feeling how this was done, sweetheart. And I would just say, oh, I won't do it no more. I didn't say you couldn't do it at all. I didn't say that. I'm just saying I didn't really like how that was done, or maybe I didn't like the timing. And in my head, and I think that's where my lines get crossed. I try to think about what the next thing is rather than feel what the next right step is. And there's a difference. So that's where that all or nothing came from for me personally. When he would say, I didn't really like this or that. Oh, well, that in my head, that's gone. I'll never do that again. I'll never say that again. I'll never interact that way ever again. No matter how I thought about it, if he didn't like it, I just won't do it. And it would be like, and when I was younger, I used to get frustrated. He used to get frustrated, and I didn't understand why. And he was like, okay, listen, I don't need you to do that. And I'm like, you don't need me to do what? I would be confused. Like, you just said you didn't like that. So if you didn't like something that I did and I tell you I'm not going to do it anymore, isn't that the outcome that you wanted? Not all the time. No, it's actually not the outcome that I wanted. I just want you to think about why I'm having an issue with it today. You're not understanding why I'm having an issue. It clearly you don't, because your answer is not do it anymore, but that's not my answer. Who's the leader here, me or you? Whose answer counts, yours or mine? You know what I'm saying? So, I think my personal struggle and challenge issues from my intellect, because I can always, quote unquote, I can always figure something out, instead of figuring out how and when it's appropriate to just not understand. And like you said, telling baby, I need help with that. I don't got that. I don't know. And I need your leadership and your guidance here. And I think that's another thing that the gynocracy takes from women, that type of vulnerability. Telling your husband, who you chose to be your leader in your life and in your relationship, and telling him, I don't know what to do in this situation. I need your guidance and your leadership here.
Yeah, a lot of within the gynocracy and feminism, the damsel in distress, or the which to me was not really it's a negative. You have a negative connotation on that, and it was really about being vulnerable. It wasn't about, when someone mentions the phrase, damsel in distress, you think of a woman hanging off a cliff somewhere, and a man coming in riding on a horse. Hi, old silver. He's coming in on a horse.
Oh, goodness me.
Yeah,
what am
exactly.
I gonna do? Oh, yeah.
Be holding on to a little weak behind branch with one hand on her head, like, Lord, I just don't know what I was gonna do. Oh my goodness. The Scarlett O'Hara type of archetype. I did a video about Scarlett O'Hara. You don't want to be Scarlett O'Hara out in the street. That was the 1860s. This is 2020. We're gonna be on the side of the road. But with your lovely red dress on and everything. But it's like you have that whole damsel in distress thing was like it was negative, and it's still seen as negative. And I'm like, you're just being a female. That's why I say, like, feminism and gynocracy is so it's such a huge, it's a castle of contradiction on a hill somewhere, because it does not make sense. You can't
It does.
be like it's a conditional issue. Like they have conditions on when you can help me, and then when I don't need you no more. And I mean, you just get a blow up doll. You know, I'm sure they got male blow up dolls somewhere. You know, that they'll interact with you and talk to you.
Right.
You. Just do that. Like, what's the point? Like, you can't, you can't do that with a person who has their own mind, their own emotions, their own goals and aspirations. If you don't want to be on that track, going in that direction, then you need to be alone. You know, you need to figure out what you need to do. But the whole damsel in distress, the whole vulnerability is linked with, for me, being vulnerable. You're being honest. You're being honest with him. He can trust you more because he knows you're being honest with yourself. A man that kind of knows that, like, if you're not honest with him, and you're kind of weird, because you're probably not honest with yourself. Like that whole thing. Women think men, like I said earlier, they're not automatons. They're not robots that follow a program, developed in some lab somewhere. They have their own mind. They have freaking common sense to know that if you're deceptive with me, you're deceptive with yourself. And if you're deceptive with yourself, you're a dangerous woman. This is not something that a man necessarily will say to you. It's a subconscious thing. And then you come home and his stuff is packed. Come home from work, all his stuff is packed because he's fed up. All that subconscious energy, all that subconscious, trash that he's like sitting here going through. How you have all this mail in his bag somewhere. He going through all this old mail, subconscious mail, just going through it. He's like, man, a pile to throw away, which is you, and a pile to keep, which ain't you. And the pile to throw away is taller than the pile to keep. He gonna be like, "Wow, I'm with this broad," Yeah. And that's when you come home, and that's the biggest, the most devastating surprise of my life. I'm going to Oprah. Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye.
That's how that works. That's how that works.
Yeah. And I think that women a lot of times underestimate, not only, like you said, men being automatons. A lot of times women underestimate men's emotional intelligence. Oh, yeah. They underestimate that. The ability for men to pick up on certain energy, and because they're not women, they're not gonna communicate that like your girlfriend would. A lot of times he's not gonna communicate that verbally, but he'll start communicating it in other ways. It's a problem when your man used to come directly in from work and now he's not. He lags around. He finds reasons not to come home. Or if he is at home, he finds reasons not to interact with you. He finds reasons not to talk to you. He finds or the interaction is a struggle where it used to be easy. Now it's like pulling teeth, or what it's difficult communication, when at first that communication used to be easy. And like you said, they know what's going on. When you're dishonest with you, they don't trust that, because you can't be honest with them if you're dishonest with yourself. And that helps to break the trust of the relationship. Yeah,
and it's like that. That whole thing is damaging. Because if you're in a relationship that's not that serious, meaning you're not living together, you're not married or anything, but you're just dating, you end up damaging that man and that situation. You end up damaging yourself, because if you are looking to progress this relationship further and it doesn't go anywhere and you end up breaking up, okay, you put another issue on his plate, and he takes to the next woman. You put another issue on your plate that's not resolved. You have a lot of unresolved issues, unresolved energy that you're taking from one relationship to another. Like, how is that helping? Not only that, but the reputation of Black women is not that good.
It's
so
not.
you making it worse, don't think he's not gonna go and talk to his friends and be like, man, I tried this, I tried that. And she's just a weirdo. Like I can't, you
Right.
know, trust her. I can't trust her with who I am. I think that's one thing when I talk to men and I'm talking about younger guys, like, my little cousins and stuff. They're younger, my brother, they're like, man, it's hard to trust women out here because I don't know who she is. I don't even think she knows who she is.
Yeah.
And these are young guys. These are the Zennial guys
Mm-hmm.
talking. They're like, I don't even think she knows who she is. Like,
A lot of times they don't. They don't know.
yeah. And they were like, first of all, like, and my brother was like, I hate to say this, but I wish they were like mommy. I was like, I just wish they were like mommy, but these ladies out here, these gals, man. I was like, well, that's the way you messed up because you trying to date some gals. Now you going to taverns trying to date some gals. You need to be, going to putting yourself in more of an environment where this is the type of woman I want. Put yourself in that environment, and see what comes of it. It may not be 100%, but you can see, oh, I definitely don't want that. Even within that different environment, you would be better equipped to recognize these little signs and symbols that you see in women. And he hasn't given up, thankfully. He's still like trying to, him and his friends and everything, they're still basically just going through it as far as how to recognize those things, because within the society, as a blue pill society, what you're raised on, the expectations of women is being broken down now.
Yeah.
And men are starting to, that iron curtain is being cracked, and certain pieces of it are falling off, certain panels of it are falling off the rails, and they're starting to see what is really going on. How do I respond? And how do I remain consistent with my response? And I think that's a good thing. I
Yeah.
really do think that's a good thing.
So thank everyone for coming in. Before we go, I want you guys, you know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Subscribe also to Miss Nikole's channel as well. And also, please go ahead and support our sponsor who so graciously supports this channel with A Game. A Game is a natural supplement for men, and I'm asking the ladies to go ahead into the description box and please support your red pill men that are in your life. Support the men in your life, period. Go ahead and click that link at agameherbal.com. You can get a 10% discount by using the code Kendra10. And this has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.